Hi there, welcome, and thank you so much for being here today. I hope you're having a gorgeous day or night. We're gonna definitely get you some clarity today because there's something funny going on in the energy. Maybe it's your situation, maybe it's somebody else's situation. I tried to do this reading a few times and energy just felt really off and weird. So I gave it a rest, did some things around my house, sat down, just breathed, meditated, and pulled some pre-cards here just to see what the overall situation is. And there's definitely something funny going on. So see how this resonates for you. This might be for a very specific group. If it doesn't feel like it's connecting to you, feel free to click off. For some of you, this is giving you clarity on somebody else's situation, especially if you felt like you were in the dark or only getting like little bits of what was going on here and there. It is a timeless collective reading. See what resonates. And if a message is for you, it'll feel like it pulses, like it really feels personal. If it just makes no sense, it's probably a message for somebody else. Just let it out there for where it needs to go and who needs to hear it. But keep an open mind and an open heart, because for some of you, it could be a message that actually makes no sense now, but might later. Always trust that direct connection you have to your higher self, to God, to source, to the universe, because in the end, the answer is in you. And try to make balanced decisions between logic and intuition so that your decisions are sound. They're based in love and for the highest, greatest good of everyone. So we're all uplifted in love. That being said, let's dive right into what I see here and what I feel is going on. And then we're going to clarify. We're going to unpeel these layers here. So there's definitely an energy of somebody moving, somebody about to move, somebody not really even knowing that they're going to be moving yet, but they will very soon, or somebody is constantly thinking about moving. I'm even getting that for someone, or whoever the group. I feel like it's a group. I don't feel like it's maybe one person. I feel like there's a group of collectives going through this. So if it's not you, it's somebody you are connected to that almost wants to get out of the house to get away from whoever is around them. It's like they're making themselves busy, anything they can do to not be home or to not be in this particular group. There is an excuse. They always have something to go. They have to go to the store, I have to go do laundry. So there's definitely someone who's been trying to travel more and more, because there's an energy that's very smothering. There's somebody who's a grudge holder. They don't want to give something up. They're holding on to such a forceful energy. You got this forcer here. So I'm getting a power control person, somebody who really likes to be in power. Now, how they go about exuding that power might be really different. It might be varied. There might be somebody who enforces their power kind of undertoned, under the radar, sort of behind the shadows kind of energy to in turn get what they want. There could be someone who's just forceful, very alpha, very aggressive, and their way is going to be the way it's going to happen. I'm kind of getting that with some. And then I see even somebody who's trying to force by almost manipulation tactics, the silent treatment or something like that. But there's somebody who really likes to have control. And I feel like the reason their grip is getting stronger is because they're actually losing control on whatever they are clenching. So I do feel like somebody wants to move out of that situation. It's getting uncomfortable. I'm getting like the straw that broke the camel's back, or like little pokes that are just starting to add up to be everything, the little things. That's a Bush song. I can't think of how it goes. It's something kind of like that, like the little things that all kind of add up to that breaking point, or someone's not gonna like deal with it anymore, because I feel like somebody constantly feels backed in a corner. For some reason, there is somebody who's looking you up. The energy I'm getting from the one who's looking you up doesn't feel like the forcer, but it could be. It could be somebody that kind of heard about you, or, they're looking you up for whatever reasons they have. But I'm getting for most of you whoever is doing the traveling or whoever wants to move is the one that is looking you up. Maybe you've done something different with yourself recently, or you have something that is moving in your life, or you've handled a situation recently like a boss. But I'm getting an elegant boss, or I'm getting with grace on your part. The energy I see with you, even if you went through a really rough situation, it's like you kind of like, okay, that sucked, but you kind of dusted yourself off and you transmuted energy. And I feel like this person is inspired by how you can do that. Now, there is somebody, whether that's you and you are energetically, spiritually being blocked from any negativity that's out there, I am getting that you are protected. But I also feel like there could be somebody who has maybe blocked you out of protection for you. And for some of you, if there is distance between you and a person and you don't know why, maybe you've been holding a grudge about that situation because you had no clarity, no conversation, no closure, no whatever. I do feel like this person is maybe keeping an eye on you just to, make sure you're okay, but maybe they're not actually having a conversation to see what you went through and if you're okay. They just see the outward posting of what you're doing on social media or whatever, or what they hear from your friends. But I feel like this person did something out of protection for you, because it looks like whoever is looking you up is they're around some crazy people. And I feel like they know that. I feel like possibly they weren't aware of it when it was a situation where they were just used to these personalities. But I feel like maybe even meeting you, or maybe even a change of environment in general has, I feel like someone's seen the light. And I feel like they didn't see that shade before. But someone now sees the light, and now that light is drawing more attention on the shade, because the bigger the light, the bigger the shadow. So I also feel like for some of you, there is, extra message over here. There is something important that you are looking up. And I feel like it has something to do with you moving forward or traveling. I'm getting kind of more like either a project or an environment, maybe career wise. But I feel like you doing research on something is going to get you some really helpful advice or information. And I feel like you're getting support somehow. So also there could be, this literally says escaping people that are cray cray. So, maybe there's just somebody that really doesn't have any kind of balance in their emotions, or balance in their control, or just balance in their life, and they're like a ball bouncing all over the freaking place, and nobody knows what to expect with whoever that is. That could also be a group of people. That could be a friend group. That could be a work group. But I feel like with that energy, it's like someone is tired of putting up the hand, or always dodging these pokes and these pulls, and somebody wants to just I'm getting that Zen. I don't know why I keep thinking of the band Bush, maybe Bush, because they have another song called Everything Zen. I guess we're getting 2 songs by one band, 2 for 1. So that's what I see here. If that makes no sense, this might not be your reading, but let's clarify what is going on here. Let's do, I'm going to do the Lenormand, because I feel like this is a good way to get an extra layer. So let's see what God, Source, Holy Spirit, Christ consciousness, our higher selves, angels and energies of love have for the highest, greatest good of all. Let's clarify moving. Maybe you're moving. Maybe you were recognizing that there was some energies that were gray, and you're like, yeah, I'm taking my sweet ass out of that situation. And maybe you recognized something even before it was drama. Maybe you were stuck in some drama, and the drama was that last straw, and you've stepped into your personal power, packed up your suitcase, boxed all your stuff, even if that is energetically speaking, and exited that situation. And I feel like I'm getting really powerful energy from you. Maybe that wasn't an easy transition for some of you if you actually had to move to a different house or a different town or a different job. But I feel relief, actually. You know, I feel like even if some of you were maybe getting out of a messy breakup or something like that, there's something where some of you are walking into your new space. Even maybe it's not as big as the last space. Maybe it's bigger for some of you, but there's something about you walking into a new space and feeling like you're just able to breathe and relax. Like you don't have to always be walking on eggshells. If that's your situation. If that's not your situation, that's how somebody else is feeling or going to feel. So let's clarify. Tell us about the energy of moving. What do we need to know about somebody moving? That there's a lot of wisdom around that action. It could also be because it's an owl, and the owls are completely, like the shape of their feathers, I looked at that 11:11. The shape of the owl's feathers helps them fly completely silent. So there's something about silent flight or silent moves, maybe moves that are happening in silence for a reason, because there's insight and intuition within whoever is moving here. Maybe it could be your insight and intuition that you recognize somebody needed to move out of an opportunity, but lead a horse to water. You can't make somebody drink. You can't make somebody move. You can't make somebody grow. You can't make somebody change if they're not ready or not willing or not able, or they don't see the truth around them, or tapping into their intuition within them. So maybe for some of you, you foresaw something happening way before it did, or that it should, and maybe you gave advice. Maybe that was even taken the wrong way. Sometimes people don't take advice kindly. They take it more in a defense instead of healthy criticism. Because I feel like if you did give advice, it wasn't malicious in any way. It may have been a little rough around the edges, but it was to help. It was to help, and I feel like it was coming from a good place. So I'm not sure if all of you had a good reaction. So maybe some of you with that owl had to maybe silence yourself or back away. Even the owl, looks at something, it can like turn its head almost completely around so it can see what's going on behind their back. So maybe you had to turn around. Maybe you had to look at the whole circumstance of a situation to gain more depth or more perspective on something overall rather than just your way of seeing something. I am getting that there's compassion here. So intuition, foresight, wisdom. I feel like now, whoever's energy it is that is moving now or knowing they need to, is listening to the signs, following guidance that they are getting from their higher self, from God, because I feel like God has been coming in and offering a lot of chances for this person to go a different way at the crossroads, or to recognize how they could handle something different. But if somebody is just in karma or just in recycled habits, they haven't learned that karmic lesson yet. They haven't elevated to that other perspective to see their role that they are playing or aren't playing. But I'm kind of getting that somebody feels like maybe I just heard role reversal. I don't know why I hear played. Maybe somebody feels like they've been played and now they're reversing that situation, playing by their own rules instead of somebody else's secret rules. That was kind of weird. So let's see. Why is dodging bullets, blocking negativity, escaping cray-cray people, being protected? Let's ask about this block or this protection. Yeah, the chalice. It's another intuition card. Spiritual fulfillment and emotions. So it could also be where somebody was kind of, maybe it was somebody who was extremely emotional, or maybe completely emotional, like no emotion at all, just dry and stagnant and stale and confusing and stoic. So it could go both ways. It could even be where there was somebody that was one extreme and then the other. But the energy of the chalice, it's like the Ace of Cups, which is taking you to where you hold on to your chalice and you go to where you can dip it in and feel fulfilled in your soul, in your heart, in your spirit. If somebody was draining your chalice or constantly offering you one that had a hole in it, or always pointing out that your chalice isn't as nice as theirs, or that they want a better chalice, or I don't know why I'm seeing somebody like compare chalices, or almost like, oh, why is yours always half empty, but yet it's full? It's like somebody was naysayer, jelly, I don't know. But I feel like you need to have a balance with your emotions and look to where you feel spiritually fulfilled. If you're in an environment or a partnership and it's always draining you, or there's somebody always constraining you, or there's somebody that is always kind of putting that shade on your beautiful light, you need to take yourself and your beautiful energy to where your light is embraced and cherished. There's something here about recognizing the company you keep. Or even if it's not the company you keep, because sometimes, you know, you work with people or whatever, there's people that are going to be there. It's how you handle that. Or maybe just, you know, keep somebody at kind of a distance. Hi, bye. So did you get that paperwork done? You know, easy breezy. But there's something about even beyond the company you keep, somebody recognizing it's the information that you let in. You know, I think that came through in another reading, like the difference between watching Heroes or watching something that can heal, or the chicken soup for the soul kind of, you know, inspirational things out there, and the fear and the media and the programming, and you have to feel this, and this is going to hell, and that is that, and la 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 la. It's like ah. So I feel like somebody is really changing their energy on what they're letting in, what they're listening to, and who they're around. Because if you're constantly around negative people, or people trying to force something or preach something that is the way it is, but they're not open-minded, or even worse, they're preaching something and not living by that truth that they are supposedly living by. I feel like someone's recognizing how somebody actually lives. What if there's somebody that's a long-term situation, maybe what the constant patterns have always been. But I feel like in order for someone to recognize those patterns that maybe they were used to seeing, they had to see something the opposite. They actually had to have a comparison to know, oh, you mean the way that person acts around me is not really that normal, or maybe not that healthy? Huh, I just thought that was kind of how it was. Because when people get used to their uncomfortable zone, even if they're not really comfortable, they become complacent, or they get, I don't know, complacency can like build up to get in, you know, get someone to pop. I don't know what that means. Like, just kind of like someone's like not gonna take it anymore. You know, I see like the cork popping off of something, or like the soda bottle, or it's constantly shaking. It's like, oh no, it's closed, it's closed, it's closed, until you give so much, you know, one too many shakes, and that cork's gonna pop out, and everything inside of that contained chalice, instead of a flowing chalice, is just gonna spew everywhere. So it can even be where there's an argument that needs to happen because the tension has been building up and shaken a little too much. So let's see. Also, this is beautiful. It's flowers. There's something growing, or there's a growth that can happen in that beautiful chalice. And if it's spiritual fulfillment, I mean, that's a multifaceted situation that's tapping into truth and authenticity in energy, and that's really valuable. It feels like vitality, sort of what I'm getting. I don't know why I just heard the word, I just heard pronunciation. Maybe this is just an extra message, or maybe punctuation. So maybe pronunciation, maybe some of you are learning. I actually don't know if this is the same message or just totally different. Maybe some of you are learning a new language, or somebody speaks a different language, or has a sexy accent. I'm also getting that with the punctuation. Maybe it's about dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and I'm getting that autocorrect. Make sure the autocorrect is correct before you hit send on that text or email, because I feel like there's maybe a chance that there is a total misconstruing of communication because of that damn autocorrect. So extra message, check that out before you hit send. All right, let's see why somebody is like in this overly controlling, forceful kind of energy, like just wanting what they want. I'm getting very much 5 of Rods energy with that, like somebody always feeling like they gotta put up their dukes, or somebody not even knowing what they're fighting for. It could even be that somebody is only fighting because they really want what someone else has. I'm not sure. It feels like a non-team player, like somebody that might be on your team or on whose ever team, but they have their own agenda. They have their own rules that they go by, and it's not for the benefit of everyone. Even if they come across as, oh no, they're here to benefit it all. We're a team, but they want to hold the trophy. The trophy's more important than their teammates. So, clarify Forcer, why is that coming through? Please and thank you. I know this reading is rather heavy, but I'm just the messenger here. And sometimes I need to have messages that come through that are for different groups of you. I prefer the happy ones, but we're gonna, even if the messages are a little heavy, we're gonna see how we can get some advice or get some clarity, or how to switch around and transmute energies to be helpful rather than just know about it. There's always a way to heal or to move because of this, to grow from it. What do we need to know about this Forcer kind of energy? Please and thank you. No? Forcer. I feel like whoever the Forcer is a very stubborn energy as well. They don't like to change. This is some. All right, so whoever's the Forcer energy, you got the Garden coming in. So there's somebody who wants what they want because they're more worried about the impression they make in the world, in society, being seen a certain way. So this absolutely could be somebody that's very sociable. They go out and they put on the smile, but I'm almost getting like when they talk to either certain people or maybe just to the public in general, I'm almost getting like a change in their tone of voice. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody like that. I have seen people like that, where if they don't like one person, they're like this and they're a certain way, and then somebody they respect comes in, or like the boss walks in, or somebody in high status or whatever it is, and like that, they change like it's another personality. It is cray cray. They're like, oh hi, yeah, how are you? It's like you are aware that you were just a complete douchebag to that poor person over there like half a second ago. How did you completely, and it's like their tone changes. Hi, how are you? And like the smile comes on their face. So I am kind of getting that. I know this is not everybody's message. So please, I hope this is helpful for where it needs to go. But I'm getting that kind of energy, like total front, depending on who they're trying to impress and the impression they're trying to get across. But their impression is different depending on who it is. and the status that they are. And I feel like this person's status is more important than their spiritual truth, than their authentic, heart. I don't feel like they're really in tune with any of that. This could be somebody just in the 3D world, worried about society, the finest things, the fanciest car, the white picket fence, the perfect family, whatever it is, the high-paying job, the biggest office on the corner with the best, view. But I kind of feel like this person's internally miserable. It's like it's very superficial. It could even be where somebody has forced their way to the top, because being at the top is what they were either told was important, or, I feel like this person has some deep karmic lessons to learn. And I kind of feel like this person's not really learning them. It's like they're stuck so much in the 3D plane. And I kind of feel like there could be somebody that even, I don't want to say like pretends to be spiritual, but I'm kind of getting that. The person that makes sure everybody knows they go to church on Sunday, they go to temple, they're there with their baked goods and the smile, but then they're not hearing the sermon. They're not embodying that lesson. They're there for show. And it's like the opposite of the person that maybe never goes to church, but every interaction they have with strangers, with their family, at their job, the person at the gas station, whoever it is out of that love thy neighbor like yourself. That gave me goosies. That actually made my hair stand. I feel like that's one of the simplest truths in most religions. See that light of God in someone else's eyes. We're all one. We all have our own path. Even somebody like this that's got a little extra learning to do, you have to see that still through the energy of spirit. It's not feeling bad for someone, and it's not giving somebody, a free pass. Oh, they don't know any better. It's like, no, you can be a tough spiritual teacher. And I'm getting that little bit of a hermit energy. Sometimes the best thing you can do, if somebody's not learning their lesson, but they're constantly, let's say, looking for that light from somebody else. Oh, may I use your light? May I use your light? I don't know how to do this. May I use your light? But if that's a constant thing, if they've never learned to turn that light on themselves because they've never been left in the dark, then they're not even going to know the power that they actually have, that they could have done it different the whole time. So I do feel like there might be a time where this person is left alone, or left in a situation where they maybe always reach out and attach, or depend on someone else to come save them. And this doesn't have to be a masculine or a feminine energy. It's just an energy that I'm getting kind of rides the coattails of others, or uses that desperation, or that they've always been hurt. They use all these kind of tactics to get what they want, and it doesn't always come across that forceful, like that direct. I feel like I'd rather be around the one that's kind of direct and alpha, and just when they're coming, when they're pissed, what they're thinking, they want their their way over here, and they're not going to bend. Okay, respect, I get it. You're not going to bend on that. It's good. You either take yourself out of that situation, or you try to compromise somewhere else. But it's the ones that are more like behind the scenes manipulation that feels dirty to me, because it feels like they trick a lot of people, or one person, without that person really recognizing they're being used, until it's too late, or until it's overwhelming. Let's keep going. So this is social gatherings, events, and networking. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't even know why I watched it. I don't know what it was. It was something, I guess it was something that had to do, it was that Charlotte girl. I like her because she's a funny thing. She does, I don't know, she watches other things and she comments, and I hadn't watched her in a long time, but I had subscribed years ago. So it was something she was watching on other influencers at, I don't know, do they have influencer parties where you can go around and influence with each other and network? your channel or your Instagram or whatever the hell that is, you know? And Charlotte, it was Charlotte. She was talking about how like, that's not really her thing. She finds people kind of mean there. And she went to a few of them where people didn't know who she was. And she has like millions of subscribers, you know? And she was watching somebody else on, you know, her channel talk about their moments, something like that. And there was somebody who had, I mean, the girl had like 700,000 subscribers on whatever it is, had this huge platform, but she was in the bathroom and these girls were so nasty, mean girls kind of thing. Like, ugh, like, are you wearing that? Like just getting her to move over because they wanted to film their shit in the bathroom and she was in the way. And she was like, I knew who they were, but they didn't recognize me. And then they saw the same girl or the same girls, you know, go out and recognize someone else. And it was that change. Like, oh, you know, you can use them or whatever. And they totally changed, you know, how they were acting towards her 1 second ago, treating her like an asshole in the bathroom to, you know, sucking up to whomever out there because they thought that that was more important. And it's just kind of interesting because the girl that was actually talking on the thing was like, I kind of liked her too. She was like, whatever, you know, she kind of had like a real down to earth, natural sort of personality. And I remember Charlotte saying something like, dude, I don't even know who this girl is. Let's look up how many things she has. Like, I kind of like her, you know? So there's something about that natural energy versus artificiality or like fake status. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's see why somebody's looking you up or what you need to know. You got a snake, but it came out upside down. So I did see that somebody maybe was keeping an eye on you to make sure you're okay or just to kind of see what you're doing, kind of check in here and there because maybe there is a, you know, a conniving, constraining kind of energy around that person. But I also feel like an extra message here could be that shedding of old skin, somebody actually transforming and recognizing that skin down there is really gross. They don't want to put that on again. So do recognize there could be kind of a weird energy out there that is kind of looking you up. I'm getting that, you know, I don't know, it's like a moth to a spiritual flame, but they can't get too close because your flame is so spiritual and so beautiful. If they actually do anything, number one, spirit is going to step in and intervene. But number two, they can't get too close because that light actually irritates their shadows, their demons. So it's like they're curious. Maybe they're going to learn something from you. If you guys have a platform or if you're just putting stuff out there that's spreading love into the world, maybe they'll catch on a little bit. Because whoever was here in deception, betrayal, or had complications is curious about you for a reason. But for some of you, maybe you were deceived by somebody you cared about because they had complications. Obviously, there's complications over here with this energy. So, you know, it could be that somebody had to unsmother themselves, you know, or recognize that there was snaky energy around them the whole time. And maybe they didn't even know why they pushed you away, but maybe that was a divine protection for you. Because I'm kind of getting that it was. Maybe there was a situation that happened, a weird fight that you and someone had where there wasn't even a problem. Why hasn't this person talked to you in forever? Maybe that weird fight was stemming from another rooted situation that needed to be dealt with, but there was some reason that you were kind of pushed out of the chaos because you're not supposed to be involved in that mess. But I do feel like maybe some of you do have a grudge because you felt betrayed by somebody you trusted. And that really blows. Maybe this is giving you a little bit of clarity on somebody's situation was maybe more complicated than they told you, or they even knew. Because I kind of feel like for some people, they're just having this epiphany now. They actually didn't know all of this weird was going on. So let's see. Let's ask about the grudge holder. Why is somebody a grudge holder. Somebody is ready to put a sickle to that situation and change something around. And I feel like if that is you and you are holding a grudge, everything can change for you. Maybe not in your connection to the situation, but for you energetically and vibrationally in your life if you let it go. Cut those strings, cut those ties. If you are in any kind of karmic situation, you are recognizing with all of this wisdom here, you don't want to go in circles anymore. You don't want to accept less than you deserve. It's time to move to bigger and brighter and broader, more spiritual blessings that want to come in your life. If for some of you, there is somebody here, I'm getting it's that straw that broke the camel's back, where somebody's just like, nope, that's it, done, no more, not gonna happen. So it could be where there's somebody a little bit pissed off that something was severed pretty quick. They didn't see it coming because they thought that they kept getting a grasp on what they wanted to have in control until somebody let go of the, like, what is that? Like, tug of war. You know, when you're in a tug of war, right? And tension and tension and tension and tension. And then what if one person is holding on and they go, oh yeah, you know what? You win. What happens to the other person? They fall down. But I'm not sure how that person's going to get up. I feel like they need to figure out on their own that they can. So there's a sudden change, cutting ties, and a separation. Maybe it's from somebody that's constantly holding grudges that would be really uncomfortable to be around. Know that, you know, that's not walking on eggshells. Like, you're never going to really make someone happy that always is pissed off at that person or upset with that person or life did this to them. It's like, I don't know. It's like putting so much straining energy on the universe instead of that open energy of manifestation to come in. Because with that open energy, it's that faith that you have to have, that the best will come in for the highest and greatest good of all. You know, what is meant for you won't pass you by. There could be somebody also, if some of you have cut strings, or maybe somebody else cut strings towards you and you've moved on. Maybe that's also why somebody is sort of looking you up, recognizing that maybe they betrayed you or didn't handle you with care. It could be that somebody is holding a grudge within themselves on something they let go of too soon or didn't embrace and cherish when it was there, especially if some of you have moved on. Moving on, let's ask about the travel. This could also be business travel. Maybe some of you just need a vacation from this. Seriously, I know absolutely, you know, from experience that you can be in a weird place, life, energy, whatever, and just go away somewhere, anywhere, you know, somewhere usually you feel drawn to, or with a person you like to be around, or, you know, space you've always wanted to see, a place in the world. It doesn't have to be far even, but getting away, it reconnects you, it reboots you. It can totally make you come back feeling like you are not even the same human being that left when you got in the car, or when you got on the plane, or when you got on the boat. It's truly amazing. But it's like it gives you that extra space to just, I don't know, even if it's just tuning into the earth or being in a new environment, to see something a different way, to feel like you're refreshed. So maybe travel for some of you is important. Maybe travel is important for someone else and they're going to come back totally changed, ready to make some different moves of wisdom in their life. For somebody who, I don't know if that's you or a group, for somebody, I keep hearing somebody, they've stayed silent on their actions for way too long. And I kind of feel like someone is always behind the screen, even secretly holding grudges, you know, maneuvering in the shadows. even forcing themselves to be somewhere or not be somewhere, and they're never speaking up, and all it needed was like an honest ass conversation. It feels like it could have made things so much better so long ago. But maybe somebody is silent because they don't even want to have a conversation with somebody who's not going to hear it or not compromise anyway. Especially if there's somebody that never takes self-responsibility for themselves, but always tosses that ball back at somebody else. Oh, it's because this person did that to me. Or, well, it's because you made me feel like this. You know, there's some people that use those emotions for leverage, but they don't actually feel that emotion, but they recognize that saying they feel that emotion might, because it's worked in the past, get somebody to be on their side. I feel like somebody's at least recognizing that that might be going on. All right, travel. This was a big reading. No wonder I needed to like shut it off and take a break and come back. So let's see. Let's get one more message on travel, please and thank you. What is commitment, contracts? You have the ring, partnerships, and the arch, connections, transitions, and growth. I mean, if you go on a road trip with someone you've never gone on vacation, you can learn a lot about who they are and how you get along with them. You know, out of the everyday circumstances and daily duties. Sometimes you recognize, you're like, oh yeah, we don't travel well together at all. You know, when you have your things to do every day, it doesn't feel so big, but you know, two people stuck in a car together on the road for 6 hours and they have to take pee breaks and they're, you know, complaining about the music, and it's like, oh yeah, maybe not so good a time. Also, it can be the opposite. You could maybe never have traveled with someone, and then you go away and you're like, oh my God, you're my new bestie. You are amazing. We totally groove together. I didn't even know we worked this well together. We should have gone on a road trip 5 years ago when we met. So it could go both ways. For some of you, maybe you, after, you know, traveling on, thank you, next. Maybe some of you meet somebody on vacation. Maybe you come back so energetically changed. All of a sudden, that gift, that opportunity that has been waiting for you now has the open archway to come in. It's not even a door there anymore. All of a sudden, whoever's coming, they're like, oh, there was always a door here on your heart or in your mind or energetically when I was thinking about asking you out, but you kind of always felt blocked off. There's something about somebody not really feeling so blocked off anymore. And that is opening up this chance for commitment, which is something you want to commit to. I am also getting, because very specifically, that is a big diamond. Not the rarest gem in the world, but it is the strongest. And if you are trying to put those facets in that diamond, you know, doing your lapidary work, the only way to do it is to have a drill that has diamonds on it. Because the only thing strong enough to work on a diamond is another diamond. So I'm sort of seeing that maybe there was a connection or a transition away where something may have twinkled like a diamond, but the strength of it was that of what like a zirconium. You know, like a bubblegum machine ring made out of plastic, but looks extra shiny. I'm getting the glitter and not gold. Just because something is glittery, it doesn't mean it's golden. So there is something that you are traveling towards where it's offering you commitment. For some of you, if that's not a person, it's a job that feels like gold. It's a city. I just heard city of gold. It's a town or a new home that feels just like its energy is vibrating and golden and so valuable to you. You know, instead of, I don't know why I see like a house of cards. I see like a little plastic Barbie house. That's really weird. It's like maybe something was just like the plastic model of the real thing. Commitment, contracts, and partnerships. So this is you traveling towards partnerships you're proud to be around. people you want to have in your life, because you recognize that the energy you have around them helps you overall in life. If you leave a group or leave a person or leave an environment and you feel worse every time, or you feel bad about yourself, or you feel drained or always confused or always stressed out, you have to look at that pattern. If there's another person you meet, maybe not now for some of you, maybe this is somebody coming on down the road, around the bend in the future. But if you have a certain person, and it's not all the time, you know, 'tis life. We're all human. We'll have shitty days. We'll have times when we're stressed out and, you know, we don't always react so well. But as a whole, if you meet another group or another person, and every time you leave, you kind of have a smile on your face. Or let's say you had a, you know, I don't know why I heard piss ant. That was really weird. A piss ant kind of day. And you go there and this person's like, "Ooh, man, rough day." But then they remind you how amazing you are. Or they just make you giggle a little. They shine a little bit of sunshine in a situation, or maybe even valuable wisdom on how to reevaluate that particular rough situation. It's an uplifting, healing connection, even among shitty circumstances. And that's to be looked at. If you have anyone like that, that you value their opinion, you just value even them not saying anything but being near you, or being there if you need to call them, maybe that's somebody you need to spend more time with. Connections, transitions, and growth. Growth is what we're here to do. We're not here to come down and stick on the merry-go-round for, you know, years and years and years and years and never feel like we're getting anywhere. We're here to grow. And you grow the most from the hardest stuff that you go through. You know, you take that AP class, you know, maybe you feel like you're in kindergarten, but you're taking a college course. That's not going to be easy, but you're going to gain so much more than repeating kindergarten over and over. If somebody else keeps repeating kindergarten, energetically speaking, and you feel the urge to maybe tackle something a little bit brighter, a little bit different, whether that's magnificent or maybe a little bit even hard, but your energy is changed with the hard stuff to handle it faster. You know, that hurdle, you may have fell over once. You're like, "Oh, I gotta do a little stretching before that. I'm gonna get ready." You ready? No, raise that hurdle higher. I just thought of the weirdest thing. I saw another clip and it was like this person put tape right across the like a doorway, and there was a cat, and the cat was like, "Okay, I got over that." And that he just like, it was like a little thing, and it kept getting higher and higher and higher. This cat, I mean, jumped like way here, like I caught a fish this big. The cat literally kept jumping over to get to the other side. And when it was too high for the cat to jump over, the cat somehow figured out a way to crawl like along the side of the doorway and haul its little ass over there to get over. It's that. It's not giving up. Okay, yeah, you want to raise that bar a little bit? Watch me now. Oh, I just thought of the song with a heavy. How you like me now? 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 I like that. I like that band. All right. Well, I didn't even realize that I was pulling this, so I guess this is where we're going. We didn't pull any tarot. Sometimes I do all tarot. Sometimes the messages. It's not about the cards. It's the images. It's the messages. It's the symbolism, you know, and it's the energy that needs to come through by, you know, the little things that come through here. But let's go to this one, because this is the one that I autopiloted to. So what would be helpful overall, just overall for you to know on what's going on here or what's going to happen? You have the Lovers. It looks like whatever is happening over here or has happened, I feel like maybe it was a necessary transition to get you into the right vibration and connection. If somebody was committed to somebody here and it was unrequited love and they were in a partnership where all they wanted to do was not be home, maybe somebody has recognized that that's a big sign to maybe move to where they at least feel like they are home within themselves, even if it's not with another person. Because a transition probably means somebody needs to heal, needs some time to figure out who they are, what's going on before they jump in the bandwagon of somebody else. You know, hit the old rebound. Do I have to hold? I mean, it's so tiny, but I do have to hold it because I didn't put my little, you know, banana hammock paint things on these guys. So you have the Lovers. Oh, there's extra in this. Let me see what's going on. You have the Moon and you have Saturn. So it is a big lesson on the masculine side here. It's a lesson on masculine energy here. The divine masculine on long, big karmic cycles. It's whatever I saw. It's like that Saturn return. Maybe somebody's also at their Saturn return. Look at that, because that's when there's a big transition, usually in one's life. Sometimes they call that the midlife crisis. But, you know, the Saturn it's a big planet, so it's a lot of energy. It takes a long time to go through that lesson, but it's a big karmic lesson learned. It's like a big elevation in one's soul. If you learn it, you don't want to go back and do that class again. That was not a quick little semester. That's a years and, years coming and going kind of thing. So I feel like maybe there's been a very long lesson, and that might be through one situation. I am getting in the masculine's energy, but that could be your masculine side if you are feminine. Learning what you should pursue, how you should put effort into something, who you need to provide for, when to be a little assertive and aggressive. And maybe that's a lesson you've learned. Because, actually, I mean, I've seen, where you think like it's the masculine energy that's going to be so overpowering. And I've seen some women be way more than that. I don't know if I almost lost my glasses, because I feel like, let's just move on. I'm going to take this to positive. So it looks like the feminine energy here is learning about the emotional side, emotional stability, working through emotions, especially when they could be heavy or hard or overwhelming or amazing. It's all of those energies, like just bobbing up like it's a wave on the top of the ocean, instead of holding it down and smothering it underneath and putting it to the depths of the ocean and pretending it's not there. Because then that's when that thing pops up. I had that pop thing that happened before with the cork, it's like that. But maybe it's a masculine energy that's learning how to be emotionally mature. Or want to be somewhere in a partnership where there is emotional maturity, because that's so much better. It's like someone that's like, hey, this is working. Look at us. We're in a partnership together. Let's go to, the next step in our relationship, whatever that is. Maybe it's moving in together. Maybe it's going on your first road trip. Maybe it's going on date 2. Maybe, it's I don't know, if you've been in a relationship, it could have been years and years and years of experiences. But if you have somebody that is grooving with you, but you go initially into it saying, hey, partnerships can get weird down the line. Things happen. Because it does make me think of being in the city. So I'm getting this. So living in New York, most of my life, a lot of couples stayed together because rent is really expensive. And it's easier to just split it in half and stay there. But then there were couples that would break up. And now you got a really uncomfortable situation at home because you don't want to be there. You can't really date anyone. It'd be weird to bring your new, honey on the couch and your old honey's in the other room. Like, no, that's weird. You don't always want to be at the other person's house. It's just all over weird. But so many people stay together because of the finances. Even if they're completely uncomfortable or they just don't want to be there. But the ones who are smart have that conversation prior to, like, hey, we hope we're going to be together forever because that's awesome. But let's be a little real. And I respect you. You're already my best friend. So if anything ever got weird, let's promise each other, no matter what, We will do it with mutual respect. We'll be honest with each other. We will figure it out and work with each other to make sure that next transition is healthy for each of us. Because if you or me doesn't want to be there anymore, then it's not mutual. You know, it's having that conversation. Someone doesn't want to be in an unrequited love. Now, I'm getting this extra message. For some people, they don't care. You know, this is sort of a neutral message coming through. But some people aren't in a relationship for for love. Some people are in a relationship for money. Some people are in a relationship for security. Some people are in a relationship for status. Some people are in a relationship because that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to grow up, get married, have kids, you know, ... because that's what you see in the movies. That's what everyone did, you know, the last 4 decades that you know of. Or that's what your parents taught you, or that's what your friends all did. So there are some people that do it for that, and that is their choice. Everyone is free will down here. That's part of the lovers. It's free will choices. But then there's that heart center. If somebody's in a relationship because they want to be loved and they're with somebody that's just taking advantage of their status or their money, that's a mismatch. If there are 2 people that are in a contractual situation, they're like, look, you look good on my arm. You know, when I go to take those pictures to get my promotion and my CEO, I want someone that looks hot here and can handle themselves in conversation in the, where's your community? In the community that looks impressive. But, you know, you can have that, but you know what? Like, this isn't really going to be a love thing. Let's just kind of live together, do our thing, and go along and handshake, fist bump. Whatever works for each couple or each individual is perfectly okay. You know, there are so many dynamics and levels. Those are just 2 very small examples. There are so many different dynamics of partnerships and what they can be. It's not judging anybody else's, but it is being honest with the person you're with on what it is. And if there is anything that changes in that partnership throughout, you know, its growth, then there needs to be constant communication to get back on the same page. With that, I also feel like I suddenly have a tickle in my throat, so there's definitely a lack of communication. I'll be right back. Now, there's definitely throat chakra issues. When that like comes out of nowhere, that's generally the energy I'm tapping into. Somebody doesn't know how to speak, or someone's afraid to, or someone never got the chance to really be open to someone they could be their truth with. Now, everyone's background is different. Not everyone comes from a family that had, you know, 2 parents or 2 parents that loved each other. I was very blessed. My parents loved each other. You know, they were best friends. My dad knew the moment he saw my mother that she was the one. And, you know, it wasn't perfect, of course. There were issues and, you know, regular household fights and stuff like that. But all in all, they really loved each other. So I am blessed to get to see that, which is probably why when I do readings, I am coming from that, even though it might sound Pollyanna, but it's both realistic with my Virgo self and that Piscean, like, you know, looking into beauty, like of what the romance is, because I know it can be that. But I've witnessed, you know, many other families, you know, even people that, so you can take whatever your situation is and you can copy it and keep it, mimic it, or you can be in a situation that is not what you want at all, but still recognize what it is you really desire and know you can have that, even if it was never an example. Sometimes we're given soul family, real family, whatever it is, because it's so not what you want, but you're the one to break that mold. You're the one to see how everything always made you feel kind of off, or everything was not really authentic, or whatever it is, or if it just never made you feel right as a kid or even as an adult looking back. that something was kind of not right, and how you don't want it to be like that for yourself. So you know what? You do it different. You change it. You make that change in you, so you are the one that has something different. So the Lovers is a choice. The Lovers is also where what is meant for you won't pass you by, because look at that huge angel, which is the angel that protects connections and marriages. You have that divine guidance here, but that angel doesn't have any strings, doesn't have any forceful energy on either of those people. It's just love. The angel wants to see two people succeed, but that angelic energy also recognizes that we're here to grow, that growth. So sometimes you have growth with the person that was perfect in your 20s, and it's not going to be the person you're going to be with in your 40s or your 60s. But when you were in your 20s, that's exactly what you needed. Sometimes you are gifted. Somebody you meet, let's say, when you were young, and then it's that person that you continually grow with throughout the many chapters of your life. But not everybody has that. You have to be okay with whatever your journey is being your journey, and embracing that you are learning and gifted something beautiful out of all of those experiences, or even times when you are alone. So let's ask about the Lovers. That is a Gemini energy. There's also a huge sun, and there's also an island. They're like on a floating island in the middle of the universe. That's so weird. I like how you can see the panorama. So maybe it's who you want to be on. If you had to be on a desert island with one person, are you on the desert island with that person? If you were on that desert island alone, are you at least, finding some fun things to do on your own, listening to the guidance to maybe get off that island, not be such a hermit? Or are you learning who you are? So, maybe that angel's going to direct somebody to maybe get lost on the boat of the universe and happen to land on your island. And you're like, oh, let me show you around my island. I have some fun things I figured out to do here since I've been by myself for so long. So also maybe no man is an island. I just looked at those. So if I look at a card, I feel like I have to do it. There is somebody moving, walking away, whether that's you or someone else. There's somebody walking away from a situation that wasn't fulfilling anymore. It's a bittersweet walking away, but turning away from something that was actually not building is taking this person on their journey to their ultimate wish come true, which is the Nine of Cups. But it's about that journey, that something out there has to be better than what wasn't working anymore over there. For some of you, this is somebody that went away, went on a journey, maybe left something they were building with you, maybe didn't even want to, but had to go on that journey of self-discovery or attend something going on in their life. So when they came back, because this is also somebody coming back from the past, they came back new, not in the same energy that they were. It's that person that I saw going on vacations, like you come back a different human being. And without that transition or that journey, it wouldn't have happened. Here, it's a soulmate. Here, it's beautiful. But it could be here, somebody's lost in the past, stuck in an old situation, or holding a grudge on what didn't work or who hurt them. Always looking at that and latching on to the kindergarten grade of whatever they were going through, because that's all they thought they had to do. They didn't realize they had to level up and move up to the next class, in the spiritual school of earth. So this could be somebody having a reality check, or really being forced to let back and take that class again in order to hopefully finally jump ahead. There could also be children involved in the situation, which just adds a extra dynamic. I just keep looking at this owl. I feel like if somebody is acting with the truth of their heart here and their divine insight from the spiritual realm, especially if this is a meant to be situation that somebody is walking towards, or a karmic cycle that was supposed to be over, I feel like you're going to get guidance each step of the way. And I feel like if there's true love, that will be felt by older or younger energies around whoever this is. So let's get one more, because I just, wow, well, that was so quick. It wasn't one more, it was two. Okay, you have an ending coming through. I gotta cover her cute little boobs. You have the Lovers and you have the World. There's a big decision on ending something. There's a big decision on making your world anew, to not being so stuck with these fixed signs here, but to be flexible, dancing through that portal naked, letting the winds of change kind of push you through. With the World, it's not keeping one foot in the old world. It's recognizing you're grateful for that last chapter, because that's what closed the book on getting you to a new one. It's the big bow for me, the World card. It's knowing that, take a bow, that was a really last weird chapter, so glad that's over. Or take a bow, so grateful. That chapter was amazing. I'm just kind of ready for something new. I know there's something else out there and I can feel it, even though I don't know what's beyond that portal yet. But you're not going to know until you take a step towards it, towards that new energy. Maybe somebody is doing it with a lot of passion and enthusiasm, a lot of balls and a lot of fire, because you have this Knight. But if this is somebody that was in the past and they were just that upside down version where they showed a lot of passion, but then they're, you know, off to the next race, off to the next best thing before anything can be spiritually contained. It's like they had a beautiful little fire and then they never sat there to see how big that spiritual fire could have been in their life. So the upside down version of that, interesting. Look at this. Whoever is this energy of the Knight is facing the snake like dead on here. The cobra kind of energy. It's the same snake. It looks like even that horse is kind of a badass. The horse is like, oh yeah, don't mess with my Knight. I'm gonna fuck on up and get out of here. Or it's like you don't even have to deal with that energy. You have the horse. It's just gonna turn around and go into that, you know, landscape. But if it's like this snake is kind of like guarding that castle, I just feel like maybe it's that facing something that was fearful head on, and I'm kind of getting that little, you know, maybe that Knight is secretly like a little snake charmer. It's like, yeah, I know what you're trying to do. Like, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna play my music over here, chill you out a little bit, and then we're just gonna casually walk into the kingdom. I am getting that maybe it's not like taking the snake and like forcing it. Maybe it's just a different approach that needs to happen. I feel like that has something to do with vibration, with love. And if that snake is not getting that energy, if it's not dancing its little dance, like, ooh, that's a cool little dance, and it's just like, you know, ready to snap, maybe it's just not going in that kingdom. Maybe it is taking that beautiful stallion there and just going into a different direction, a different kingdom, a different, you know, way that feels like it's passionately lit. Because I kind of like that Knight. It's kind of like, oh, a good time. That's a person you'd have a good time in the car with. That's a person you would like to be around because they're always thinking of a new experience. Like, what can we do now that would be even better? Or maybe we need to relax today. Let's just do this. They're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of bright. They walk into a room and they're noticed. It can be somebody who's very popular. It can also be somebody that doesn't think they're popular and yet they are attractive to people. People are attracted to that light. They're attracted to that person's humor. They're attracted to that person's personality. They're attracted to that person's style or flair or the way they do something, because they're usually unique somehow, even if they're super quiet. And here, I feel like somebody let a chance slip by. That's somebody that's letting God's gift. Where's your chalice? It's like, you know, somebody's sitting there and they're like looking at those 3 chalices. They're like, oh, staring at those chalices. I don't know what I want to do with them. I don't even know how to fill them up. I don't even want to give it attention anymore. Or maybe it's, I want to give that attention, but there's something over here that would fulfill you, at least to get up and walk over to those chalices, you know, those 3 energies there. And at least, you know, now you're in movement and you're going to take it and go to that maybe lake that's behind there, behind the hill. You can't really see what's back there. But at least not having your arms crossed, or, you know, because somebody's sitting there like this, they don't want help. They don't want to be open. They're like maybe a grudgy person, or they're just not ready for a blessing. And they're like, no, yeah. You know what? Everyone said that those chalices in front of me were going to be fulfilling, and that wasn't. So why am I going to listen to you, God, or angel, or spirit, or higher self, or spirit guides, or guardian angels, or whomever? This hand is coming out of the sky, like the hand of God. It's like, you know, that thing you've been crying about, you know, that thing that you've, you know, found constantly boring for how many years, you know, that thing that you've secretly wished for, and I heard your prayers. Why don't you try this? Take a sip of it. You might like it. It was made in this, you know, in the ether just for you, to fulfill your soul, to make that fire in your spirit sparkle a little bit and get you out of that complacency, bored, wah, wah, kind of energy, man, and put a little passion overall in your life. And if somebody was just not willing to even turn their head to see that it was there, or saw that it was there and turn their head away because of whatever reason, they're not gonna get that experience. Somebody doesn't have to take the offer, but there is an energy where if God keeps offering you something that's a blessing, like, here, you know what? We know whether you've outwardly prayed for this or not, or we just know this is really what you need spiritually. This is what your spirit, your soul has signed up for. Here you go. And someone's like, nah, I don't know. The world sucks. Never works out. You know, nothing's ever good over there. And it's just constantly like shunned away. You're telling the universe, no, I don't need a blessing. And you're shutting down more blessings overall from coming in your life. The more you say yes, it's just like synchronicity. The more you recognize, you're like, that's so weird. I was just talking about that with my friend. How is that on the radio right now? Or how are those people talking about it? Or how is there a billboard that's giving me the answer for the thing I was just talking about? Or why do I keep seeing this birthday over and over and over, this repeating number? It's where something is not just a coincidence. It's your inner connection to the universe, to your outer world. And if you start to recognize there's bigger connections than something shunned off as a coinky-dink here and there, if you write it down, the more you notice, you know what? The more the universe is like, okay, you're starting to get it now. And all of a sudden, it's overwhelming. And that happens often with people that are having their big first spiritual awakening. They're like, oh my gosh, it's happening everywhere. I see these signs everywhere. What's going on? They look it up and they see the angel numbers and all that. But there has to be like a little like spiritual, it's almost like you get that extra energy. I'm getting like a little bit of a spiritual ego death that has to happen after that, because you have to get back grounded on earth in reality to find that balance. And then, you know, you like learn how to mix and mingle all of the ethers, all of the dimensions, all of the energies together eventually. But we're all constantly learning. But you know, if you're constantly saying no, it's like look at, like, if someone's like, hey, do you want to go out? Hey, do you want to go out? Hey, do you want to go out? It's just something easy. Eventually, like, that person's not going to ask you anymore. They're going to go out with someone that wants to go out with them. So if this person really wants to maybe give something a try, or maybe now they're finally getting that ambition and that confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to put my big girl pants on, my big boy pants on, and maybe I'm going to take a sip of the unknown over there. Maybe just see, you know, I always like orange juice. I don't think I'll ever have another favorite drink, but let me just try the wheatgrass juice. I'll give it a try. And then they try something outside their norm. They're like, wow, I got a new favorite. I have a new favorite thing to try now. But it takes like branching out. Upside down, it's where somebody turns their head and takes a sip. And then that revitalizes that person to uncross their arms, reach out and say yes to more blessings. Maybe even look at how these things here are a blessing. Maybe inspire these cups here to also reach for their own blessings instead of just sitting there doing nothing. Because at least this one's flying. You know, you can't tell if those cups are empty or not. They're not spilled over, but they could all be depleted. They could all be full. But if he sits there under that tree too long and those cups are all full, eventually they're going to dry up. Wow. This was a long reading. So I hope something came through here that was helpful. I am definitely getting that there's transition, and I'm this arch. It just feels like somebody is now stepping into this personal power, this personal enthusiasm, this light that is inside of them, that they can do it. It's empowerment. It's courage to trust each step, to trust each decision, to trust each open door or not as it comes, instead of sitting there, you know, vicariously thinking about everything but not thinking about anything at the same time. Somebody wants to get a little more spice on their vanilla ice cream, you know, put a little jalapeno on there and see how it would taste. Let's get you one final message from what? The universe. Yeah? If I have it, I do. No? Do I? I do. No, I don't know. They all look the same. They're all blue with the yellow lettering. I really did think I brought it over here. So maybe something different. Maybe something different for you guys. Hold on, let me pause you. I'll go find something because this reading's already pretty long. Let's get you a final the big finale. Not sure where I put the universe, but I did find messages from Spirit, which feels appropriate. So let's get you one final message that Spirit would like you to know, to be helpful for you. One last helpful, that was really quick, message for you is, I always forget that these are like the other way. I always read them upside down. Your life is about to start moving quickly in some areas. Events where you do have that. Where is your sudden thing? Your sickle. Where's your sickle? Your scythe. Here. It says sudden change, cutting ties, separation. What I feel like for most of you, that's separating from something that was, you know, not supposed to be there anyway. It actually feels like a relief. So your life is about to start moving quickly in some areas. Yeah, events that seem to have been on hold suddenly propel forward. Move with the flow. Move with the flow, you know, and just be mindful, because that's what's changed now in the cycle. I feel like maybe, you know, somebody did need to contemplate a little bit, change their mindset, see something in a new perspective. Tap into their higher self, open up that third eye and the crown chakra, and connect all those chakras down to the root, to earth. Even with this here, she's up there floating in la la land in the sky through the portal of possibility, but she got to come back down to earth, you know, and be in the reality of a situation and see what needs your attention. And it's you making decisions. Where's your Lovers? Rationally, not compulsively, like this would be upside down, you know, and too compulsive, and then having the repercussions of what they did without thinking come through later. It's having that spiritual compulsion, that urge that feels different. It feels like a pull from your soul, not your nads or that down part down there, or lustful energy, or your ego. It's a different kind of energy because it never leaves you feeling lacking, whether it's a moment or whole experience. It feels fulfilling. And make decisions rationally and sensibly. You know, circling back to the old intro, you know, try to find that balance always between your logic and your intuition. And then connect that to your heart space and fuel it with your soul. And you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be good. I love you so much. I hope this reading was helpful. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you. Thank you for blessing my life and being here with me, because this is an energy exchange, and I appreciate I appreciate tapping into your beautiful energy. Thank you, soul family. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.